Cordial greetings, my name is Juan Alberto Parada Granados, and in this video I'm going to development Unit 2, Task 2, English Linguistics, Verbal Dimensions, exploring the tapestry of language, tongue, speech, and dialect. Okay, let's continue. And the first, the introduction of this video is understanding about the fundamental concepts of linguistics, that language, tongue, speech, and dialect. Understanding these terms is essential to explore how humans communicate, how language have identity, and how they vary across individuals and communities. In this presentation, we will define each concept, provide clear examples, and highlight their similarities and difference using visual and sounds to enrich the explanation. First is the language, and it's important to explain any terms to understanding the difference and similarities. Okay, the language is a verbal and often written system of communications. It involves the conversation and expression of thoughts through a structured set of roles and symbols. From Gutierrez explains that as part of human evolutions, a language serves as a unique vehicle of expression for a particular community because it not only transmits ideas but also preserves traditions, cultural identity, and collective memory. Each language reflects how a group of people understand the world and shares values across generations. For instance, English, Spanish, Mandarin are different languages, but they all serve the same purpose: human communication. The next term is tongue. What is tongue? Tongue refers to the universal system of human communications. Language emphasizes belonging. It is tied to the nation or social group where the language is spoken. The word tongue is often used as a synonym for language, but emphasizes a cultural identity. We see it in expressions like mother tongue, which means the first language a person learns at home. For example, Spanish is the mother language for most Colombians, and French is the national language of France. But illustrates how a tongue is more than just words. It is also identity and culture. The next term is speech. What is speech? Speech is the individual and concrete expression of language. It is how each person speaks, using their own tone, speed, and style. No two people speak in exactly the same way. For example, the first person says, "I'm gonna go to the movies," and the second person says, "I'm going to the cinema." These two persons speak the same language, that is English, but the speech is different. Other example, the first person says, reading a book, the sun was rising over the mountains, and the second person, when reading the book, says the sun was rising over the mountains. These two persons speak same, but his speech is different. The final term is dialect. Dialect is a regional or social variety of a language. It includes difference in pronunciation, vocabulary, and grammar. Dialects show how language adapts to communities and regions, reflect a local culture, spoken in informal settings, and can have multiple dialects in one country or region. For example, in my country, Colombia, to greet a person in Antioquia says parce. In Santander says mano. In other parts says bro, or amigo, or mi pana. It's the same country, but are different dialects. Other example, for example, in English, Americans, the American people, says the big car truck, and British people in Europe say lorry. Other example, in Spanish, Mexicans says computadora, Spaniards in Spain says ordenador. It's the same thing, but told in different dialects. Taking into account the meaning of each term, now we will explain the difference and similarities between language, tongue, speech, and dialect. The difference. First, the language differs from the others because it is the broadest and most universal system of human communications. Tongue differs from the others because it is a specific form of a language, linked to the cultural and national identity of a community. Speech differs from the others because it is the individual realization of language, marked by a personal style, tone, and way of speaking. And dialect differs from the others because it is a regional or social variety of a language with difference in pronunciation, vocabulary, or grammar. Finally, the similarities. All these concepts, language, tongue, speech, and dialect, are connected. They are forms of human communications. They work together to help us share ideas, emotions, and culture. From conclusion, language is a general system, tongue highlights cultural identity, speech is the personal expressions, and dialect reflects regional diversity. Together, they form the rich and complex world of human communication. This is the reference to make a video and material. Thanks for watching my video and see you from the next video. Bye.